All right, guys. So this is a detailed video on how to make meat pie. But first, we are going to be preparing the sauce. Yeah, the meat pie sauce. So in a pot, I added groundnut oil. I added carrots, and then I'm adding onions. So we are going to be frying it for some minutes before we start putting other veggies. Yeah. At this point, I'm um adding Irish potato. So this is the outcome. Now we are adding other veggies depending on your specification. So I added pepper, green bell pepper, and then I added spring onions. So yeah, just depend on what you want. So this one is just extra because it's something that, yeah, I am using this meat pie to replace bread. Yeah, because I love taking tea. Yeah, so that is why I said, okay, I'm making this meat pie and then I'm going to be storing it. And most times when I'm going to work, I go with snack. Yeah, because now it's cold and or carrying food around, I don't really fancy that. So at this point, I added my stock cube. I've added spices, curry, thyme, and other spices that you can use. Now you want to stir it, allow it to cook. Now before this time, we've already blended our raw meat. Yeah, because it's meat pie. So at this point, we are going to be adding the raw meat in the pot, and then you want to stir it. So the meat is too much because this meat pie sauce, I will not be using it at a go, depending on the flour, depending on the dough, meat pie dough that I want to make. So I can divide it into two and then use it maybe some other time. So at this point, you want to add water so that the meat will be able to cook properly. Yeah, and then you cover, allow to cook, and we are checking it. You have to cook it until the meat, it changed from pink color to um cooked, like kind of brown. Yeah, and then you want to stir, so you can see that there's still water in it. At this point, you want to add your corn flour. Mix the corn flour with little water and then you add it. This helps it serve as, this corn flour will serve as thickener to help it thicken. Yeah, so at this point I was so tired of standing and all that, so I decided to sit down to mix the dough, the flour. Now in this flour I used let me say 4 cups of flour. Yeah, and then this is the butter I use. In the flour, I use just the flour and the butter because this butter is salted butter. Yeah, it's salted butter, so that is why I didn't add salt, because if you're using salted butter and then you add salt, it will make the meat pie to be salty. So to avoid that, I only use the butter and the flour. So at this time, it's time to roll out our dough. So before then, I allowed it to rest in the fridge for few minutes, and then we are bringing it out to prepare the meat pie proper. So this is the meat pie dough, and then we'll take it bit by bit until we'll take it bit by bit. After all, we'll stretch it out, cut out the one that we are using. At this point, I don't have that meat pie cutter, so I'll be using a plate. Yeah, I use this plate to cut a round bowl, yeah, to cut it out, and then I'm removing the excess from the dough. And then after I remove that, I had to stretch it out again. Yeah, you have to stretch it out again so that by the time you add your sauce to it, it will be foldable. You can be able to fold it and then put in the oven. So guys, I had to stretch it out again at this point. So after stretching it out, I had to add the sauce that we earlier prepared, because the sauce, you have to allow it to cool down for some time. Then you fold it. Remember, I don't have the meat pie cutter, and then I have to use my fork to design the meat pie to make it look like meat, like it was, to make it look like as if I used the meat pie cutter. So this is it, and then this is how we this is how you this is the process or the procedure you have to follow until you finish all the dough. Yeah. And then when you see that the dough, you're almost done with the dough, you want to go and do what? Preheat your oven. Yeah, you want to go and preheat your oven. So at this point, I have to use the fork to create a little bit of design on top before I now use my egg to um rub on it, so that it help it become crunchy. So some persons, while making their meat pie, they want to do what? Guys, if you watch up to this extent, please like, subscribe, share, and follow for more updates like this. So these ones will come into the next batch. So guys, at this point, the meat pie is ready. See you in my next one.